Surprised by Gronk's announcement?
I was not. I think the injuries finally caught up with him, Skip. If you remember, he missed his entire senior year in college because of a back injury. So basically, he limped into the NFL. Last season, he limped into the season, and he kind of limped out of it. He was not, as we could see, the pounding that he was starting to take. And I don't care what any doctors tell you. The more they open your body up, the badder it becomes. And we saw the surgery start coming with greater regularity. Skip, we had started to see him miss more games, and they were keeping him down for extended periods of time. And Gronk is only 29, about to be 30. Let that sink in. Now, in a normal life.
You played till 35. Okay, go ahead.
Played 14 years.
Yep.
He's a young man in normal walk of life. But because of the injury, he's an old. He actually older than Tom Brady, Skip. And Tom Brady is going into his 20th season.
I agree.
But because of the injuries that have befuddled Gronk, is that it just took its toll.
And it wasn't just on one part of the body; it was everything.
Part of the body. It started back, knee, ankle,
it was like
forearm, elbow.
Kobe at the end, except he had it the whole career.
And he's physically gifted, but he plays the game physical. Even though, Skip, the game is more spread out now, they do a lot more passing. But because of his size, Skip, there's only one way to get him down. And you have to chop him down like you do an oak. And eventually it caught up with him because they chopped on his knees and they chopped on his ankle. And eventually he just like, you know what? Yes, I probably could come back out here and play. But I can just imagine watching him on the field. Skip, that's 80,000 fans cheering for you. You know the adrenaline. Can you imagine what it takes for him to just get to the field? Can you imagine what the Wednesday and Thursday and Friday practices must be like for this man?
How many injections he took pregame?
He just said enough is enough. If you look at him this season, he only had 2 100-yard games. If you look at him in the playoffs, Skip, as you mentioned, the Rams game came down to one big play. You look at the Kansas City game, it came down to one big play. In the San Diego game, he was more of a runner. a run blocker. And could he still dominate games? Yeah, but it was sporadic. He couldn't summons up and have that because of the injuries. He missed a game here. He missed 3 games there. Skip, in his 9-year career, in his last 7 years, the first 2 years he played all 16 games. The last 7 years, he missed basically 2 seasons. He missed 2 seasons.
Okay.
And it's tough because you hate to see a guy this gifted career end like it did. Kellen Winslow was another guy, Skip. He only played 9 seasons, but he didn't shortchange you. Gronk didn't shortchange you. You knew that when he walked onto the field, and I've said this before, he was the most dominating non-quarterback that we had going. And unfortunately, injuries took its toll on his body, and he said, you know what? I'm only 30. I plan on living another 50, 60 years, and I don't want to be limping and hobbling around at 31, 32. So you know what? I'm going to go on and bow out gracefully. He had an unbelievable career.
He did.
But I am not surprised he chose to walk away.
Hall of Fame, right?
No question.
No question.
Yeah,
First ballot?
First ballot. No question.
Got
no
it.
Question.
So obviously, Rob Gronkowski has an immediate and brilliant future ahead of him as a pro wrestler or a movie star or whatever he chooses to be, just a character, right?
Skip, I believe wrestling is tougher on your body than football. Have you seen the way some of those guys walk around?
I don't watch.
Oh, okay.
I guess they do toss each other around the ring, right?
Yes.
So can he survive in that?
I don't know.
No. The point is he's going to segue right into a big new career. So he had that going for him, and a lot of guys, most guys, don't have anywhere near close to that. Right? You knew you might be able to do TV, but you weren't sure you could do TV,
right?
So it wasn't a slam dunk for you to say, here we go into my next career.
Had CBS not called, I was taking my butt back to the NFL for year 15.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. So it was the perfect way for him to go out. He caught the pass. It was really the only pass of the Super Bowl. It's 29 yards down the 2-yard line. The game was 3-all. It's mid-4th quarter. Brady's being stymied by Wade Phillips and company the whole game, and he makes one throw that was a little bit ill-advised to me, because you had 3 Rams within striking range of this pass. You know, it's thrown into almost triple coverage. He dropped a dime on Gronkowski, who made a nice catch and gets down to the 2, and that was basically the ball game.
Right.
So what a great way to go out, because to me that was Brady's greatest clutch throw in any of his Super Bowls, given the degree of difficulty, because he had been stymied the whole game. So you caught it, you capped it off, you did it, great way to go out. The surprise for me is that we didn't hear this a week after the Super Bowl, or maybe at the most 2 weeks after the Super Bowl. When he goes home, he unwinds, he has a couple of beers, and he says, finally, I just can't do this anymore.
Correct.
Why did it take this long? Because he's going to leave his quarterback in even more of a lurch than the quarterback is usually left in. Because to me, the degree of difficulty, for Tom Brady at age 42 just continues to go up, harder, harder.
Right.
Because Jared Cook was out there on the market. It was reported that Belichick made a brief run at Jared Cook, but it didn't seem to turn his head or open his eyes to New England.
Right.
Because he's committed, even though he hasn't officially signed, to New Orleans.
Right.
So Drew Brees, Tom Brady, I guess it was pretty close, right? And the money's probably much better, I'm thinking, in New Orleans.
I agree.
Jared Cook is really good. Every time I've rooted against him, he has stung me somehow. He made that one catch. Of course, I could have made that catch. The pitching catch.
Oh, he went to Jared?
He went to Jared. Yeah, right. He went to Aaron is where he went. But the point was, he's really good everywhere. Now, this would be his 5th team, so I don't get why Jared Cook keeps bouncing.
You're thinking the same thing I'm thinking.
Like, what? Is he difficult? Is he? Well, I don't know.
Rams gave up on him. The Packers gave up on him. The Raiders are giving up on him.
Yeah, Tennessee originally gave up on him.
Yes.
Okay, so what's that about? I don't know. But if we look at this, the Patriots made a run at Adam Humphries, who got a big deal to go from Tampa to Tennessee. So Brady didn't get him. Danny Amendola was briefly on the market. I guess he's still too expensive for Belichick, so there's no Danny Amendola. We got an aging Edelman, and you got an aging Hogan, and they did re-sign Philip Dorsett.
Right.
Okay.
So is Hogan back?
I don't even know if he's going to be back or not.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's a good question. So is Brady going to be reduced to continuing to dink and dunk to James White and Rex Burkhead? I don't know, because I'm looking at the tight end roster now. They did sign the immortal Matt Lacoste from your Broncos, who actually caught 24 balls for 250 yards and a touchdown for the Broncos last year, but that's going to be their big signee, other than, of course, they got Michael Bennett on defense. But I'm talking about for people to throw to. Jacob Hollister is still there on the roster, maybe. They also signed the immortal, these are wide receivers, Bruce Ellington and Maurice Harris. You're very familiar with both of those, I'm sure.
Not really.
Probably not. but that's what Malcolm Mitchell just retired, so you're down that guy. And now you're just looking at, will Josh Gordon ever come back? Could he come back sometime next year?
Well, they did tender him just in case.
Yep.
I think the thing is maybe they go into the draft. You know, you have the 2 guys from Iowa, Faint and Hawkinson.
Maybe.
Aaron Smith Jr. from Alabama.
You could do that.
You know, Coach Belichick.
I like him.
He loves players from Alabama.
I got you.
He know they're well coached. Coach Belichick knows Nick Saban. He was his defensive coordinator in the 90s when he was in Cleveland. So that might be a possibility. But, Skip, the only really, really big play, potential. He's only had 2 guys that were big play, that were capable of taking the top off the coverage and would gut you, that you set your defense up, you go into a game, we got to stop these 2 guys. That's Randy Moss, that's Rob Gronkowski. Now, Randy is in the Hall of Fame, retired many years ago. Now, we're going to see. Because, Skip, even though Gronk wasn't what he once was, he still caused you to stay up at night figuring out ways to try and stop him. Okay. And every once in a while, you see teams like, okay, you know what? He's not the same Gronk. And they would try and sneak a linebacker on him one-on-one. Or they try and sneak a safety on him one-on-one. And just when you least expect it, Tom Brady said, y'all think y'all slick, but I got something for you. And he would find him. And he's a monster to bring down. So now you get in situations where, like, as you mentioned, you have Edelman. You have maybe Hogan if he comes back. Dorsett doesn't strike a whole lot of fear. No. So I can see James White catching 100 passes. I can see Rex Burkhead having another 40, 50 passes.
I agree.
Whatever it's going to take for this offense to evolve, whatever it's going to take for them to win a game, Coach Belichick, Josh McDaniel, the offensive coordinator, that's what they're going to do. Tom Brady's not going to wake me up when I get breaking news, Tom Brady's retired. Bill
So
Belichick.
you've finally seen the light.
No.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm saying no.
Uh-huh.
That's when I'm going to be worried about the New England Patriots. Because as long as those two are still there,
Okay.
I'm not worried.
Still seems like Belichick's trying to handicap Brady here.
So what are you supposed to do? Talk Gronk out of retirement? Gronk wanted to retire, Skip.
Got to go get somebody. You got to make a splash. You got to go get Jared. Make sure you got Jared Cook, unless he got blindsided too late in the pursuit of Jared Cook.
Remember, we had a conversation, Skip, about Gronk, and you and I both thought he would not return. But the thing that I told him is that you take plenty of time to make this decision. You never make these type of decisions in an emotional state, whether you win or you lose. Now, he's further enough removed. He's 6-7 weeks removed from that high of winning the Super Bowl. He's had ample time to decide, you know what, guys, this is what I truly, truly want to do. And knowing I don't want to put my body through it gets harder as you get older to put your body in a situation where you can go perform. And then with no assurances, guess what? Week 1, I done nicked my ankle again. My back starting to act up again. My forearm, my elbow. So Gronk says, you know what, guys? What else? What else could Gronk do that's going to change perception of who and what he is? I believe he's the most dominant tight end to ever play that position. There's no question about that. We're going to talk about his greatness a little later. But there's no question in his mind. There's never been a tight end that possessed all the tools that he had. Guy that could run, that could catch, that could block, great in the red zone, great run after the catch. Yeah, there's no question in my mind he's the most dominant guy to play that position.
And as Brady posted yesterday to Gronk, your fun-loving, inspiring, and positive energy made an impact on everybody you came into contact with. That's maybe what they'll miss even more than his on-the-field production, just his spirit, his spark, right?
Yeah.
In fact, we got Gronk and you don't, even if it's not until the playoffs that you got Gronk. But when you got Gronk, you got Gronk.